Back to 50XX. I've come across many a hero in my lifetime. Never before, though, did I think I'd encounter a situation like this. Someone I never thought I'd meet again in my lifetime. The person I never thought I'd meet again, that is James. The person continuing to meet again. The person always here. I am Fake Namerson. You may be tired about us talking about GoofBallz, but I don't know. I mean, fuck it. If you are, I guess just end here. We'll be back in like 3 episodes or something. That being said, we forgot some things kind of crucial about this dude in our experiences with him. James, I want you to lead us off. I want you to go as descriptive as possible into what I keep referring to as Magic Night.
Magic Night. Oh, that was fun. So, we don't just play D&D. Like, we dabble into various nerd archetypes. I mean, we play multiple different card games and stuff like that. So, when Dominaria released, A just bought a box of Dominaria, and we were all going to draft it. So instead of being a douche and charging like $4 or $5 a pack, it was $15 and you got 6 packs. So that's, saves you about $10. And there was also like a small prize. I think it was like a $7 or $8 angel or something like that. So GoofBallz, we'd always invite him to Magic events, and he'd flake the last second. He'd he'd say he's coming and then just would never show up, and then would get mad if we didn't invite him to any other events. So we were talking about this Dominaria draft, and he was like, well, I never got an invite. Why was I never invited? You guys are always trying to do stuff without me, and blah, 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 blah. So we invited him, and he actually came this time. It was pretty much a shit show from the beginning. After the draft, every 2 minutes into his game, he'd be yelling for a judge. And mind you, this is like Friday night kitchen table magic. I mean, we were like, there's like, 7 of us there, maybe? 7, 8 of us there. And, nothing was so, like, super fantabulous that you needed to have a judge color. It's not like we were playing for a full box or, like, $50 or something.
But did he actually know how to play, though?
Yeah, he knew how to play. Well, I don't know about fully, but he'd played Magic. But he'd said he'd played Magic for like 5 to 10 years or something like that.
Oh, okay.
He was at the time. I mean, I was brand new to Magic. I hadn't played Magic since I was like 15. So I'd been like 10 plus years for me before, since even touching a Magic card.
He's 86 now, by the way.
Yeah, I'm like 114. So he'd call for a judge every couple minutes. And it came down towards the end of the night, and the way we were kind of doing the bracket or whatever is just so everybody got a chance to play, so that nobody was sitting there sitting out. Like, we didn't do like double elimination or single elimination or anything like that. It was just, let's all keep playing, and then whoever has the best record at the end of the night wins.
From what I heard, like a round robin tournament.
Yeah, pretty much. And so he beat me, but ended up with a lower score than me. But I ended up winning the event, and that set him off entirely. He was going on this tirade about how he feels cheated, and if he knew that it was going to turn out this way, he would have never chipped in the money for it, which is kind of asinine, because by charging us the amount that we were charged for the packs, Aegis actually lost money on that box. So just freaking out about how he should be the winner because he beat me, and that we don't know how to run a tournament, basically, because we wanted to keep everyone involved. And like I said, it wasn't like a big name. We're not like a freaking Grand Prix sanctioned Magic event. It was like a group of friends sitting around a table drafting the new set. But that's pretty much that from what I can think. Just a brief overview, anyway.
I'm trying to remember, because GoofBallz also told me his side of the story. One thing I think I could agree with, probably shouldn't have went had he known it was not like a competitive event.
Right, for sure. If he's so overly competitive that sitting down for a draft with just a bunch of friends that has really no like, I mean, none of us have ever ran a sanctioned tournament before, so no, we don't know how to accurately map out the brackets and stuff like that. We just wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to play so that nobody was sitting out waiting. So we figured that was the best way to do it. Now that we've run a couple of them and actually know what we're doing, they run a lot smoother than that one did. But
You guys have run Magic events?
we've ran some with some of the guys that we met up from the comic shop in Minot.
Oh yeah, I'm part of that group.
Yep.
I just haven't showed up.
It's fun. I mean, we drafted Guilds of Ravnica, and that went really well. So, I mean... But he's just, like, if it's to the point where you're so competitive that you can't sit down with your friends and play, like... And the little $5 card was what he was upset about. And I was like, I will give you that $5 promo. It does not affect me at all. Because at the time, I wasn't even collecting Magic. I was just playing to play. So... I didn't care.
Yeah. Alright. Like a competitive nature, this man. And I guess before we jump into the next thing, there's some more information. Gotta get out of you.
Uh-oh.
I don't think we specifically explained this last time, but during the times that James would run in between GoofBallz games, Bogrval, I keep wanting to go to the other, but Bogrval would play with us. It was a unique experience.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. Before we jump into some of those things, though, from what I hear, the epitome of this is something that I actually wasn't here for. He played a... Actually, we'll have to explain what that is too, because we can't just assume everyone knows that how to play D&D.
Yeah.
But lay it on us. What is his name? Baron ran a campaign.
Oh God. Yeah.
One time.
Oh boy. So, I don't remember what I was doing, but Bolgerval was insistent on me being there for this, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll show up. And he kept, like, beforehand he was messaging me, like, are you going to run a game? Am I going to run a game? Who's going to run a game? We got to have a game ran. Oh my goodness, who's going to do it? We're so procrastinating.
The market is crashing on games.
Yeah. So
the bull market out there.
So I was like, I don't care, do whatever. And then, like, I was on my way, because I live, like, 45 miles away. So I was on my way here. And he sent me a message saying that Baron was going to run, a quick one-shot or whatever. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm fine with it. I didn't really want to run a game that he was going to play in anyway, because I guess we'll get into that later. But, so, I show up, get my character out. I just run-of-the-mill tiefling... Oath of Vengeance Paladin. Nothing super crazy,
Super crazy.
Super crazy. Guy beside me is I think he was playing like a human fighter or something. And then I think Xena was playing also something kind of like straight from the PHB or whatever. So it was a bunch of normals. And then it came to him.
Wait, from what I heard, like, there was someone playing like a giant rat man?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part, yeah. There was somebody playing a giant rabbit. But I don't think that guy had ever played D&D before. So I don't think he really truly grasped the concept, and I think Chris was just like, sure, whatever. Just making the same stats as a human. And then it came over to him, and he's like, I was looking at classes on D&D Wiki, or races on D&D Wiki. Don't use D&D Wiki for anything. That's all wrote by like 6-year-old kids that just want to be super overpowered.
It's a homebrew site, not official.
Yeah, for sure. And he said he wanted to play a Beholder. So a beholder is one of the most nasty creatures in the D&D multiverse. It's a giant ball with a bunch of giant floating ball with a bunch of eye stalks on it. It's probably like the most well-known like D&D custom creature, I would say. And yeah, that's what he decided he wanted to play.
It's also got some really like nasty abilities like disintegrate.
Yeah.
And it just like messes with your mind and stuff.
So
it's one of the most feared creatures in D&D too, I believe.
Yeah. And so that's what he wanted to play, and he bullied Baron into allowing him to do so. And yeah, it was not a fun time for anyone.
So, like, there were some certain things he said that he did that just beholders didn't have, which is insane to me because they already have so much.
Yeah, he would. We were doing something or whatever, and Baron was like, remove whatever from your rations. He's like, oh, well, I don't need rations. Beholders don't need to eat, sleep, or drink. And it was like, they're sentient beings. They have to eat, drink, and sleep. They're not like a construct. I mean, they're just like any other creature. So they have to abide by the laws of nature. Even though they have eyes that disintegrate people. He would what was it he had? Which this is something the beholders do have, but it was not something that was on the class that he saw, but he just retconned it in because he wanted it. He would communicate telepathically with everyone instead of talking to them. Which beholders can do that, but that particular class to funnily enough not make them overpowered, which they were, decided not to allow them to do that. So in all reality, though, if a beholder would fly into a bar or just fly around anywhere, it'd instantly be attempted to be murdered by everybody in the town. So
some nasty beings.
Yeah, not something that you want to play as a playable character. I mean, tieflings were already bad enough.
The literal spawn of demon.
Yeah.
I figured I'd leave with that because I want to talk about GoofBallz as a player. GoofBallz as a GM and GoofBallz as a player are two different enough experiences that you probably think they were different people. I didn't pick up a lot of the things that I know a lot of people were complaining about. I think the height of it was Basil, I think his name was?
Yeah, that little gnome or whatever. Well, he didn't want it to be a gnome. He wanted it to be one of his custom races. But I did X-nay that right
Which
away.
one?
The ones that he has that give a +4 to intelligence or something like that.
Oh, is that the one Song played?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So GoofBallz as a player. First off, I remember the first time we actually did play with him. He played like a Dragonborn Claire. No,
I think it was a wizard.
Wizard.
Or sorcerer.
That's
one of
the
two.
one. Dragonborn wizard. I don't know his backstory, to be honest. I picked up he may have been enslaved or something.
Yeah, something like that.
No, we're talking about his background. Fictional character background. Not him as the person. He went into it repeating that he was a heavy role player. If there was something he did, just don't get too upset about it because it's just role play. His character had a strong personality. I'm not sure if you agree with that or not, but
yeah. Strongish.
Some, forewarning kind of things.
Forewarning, I'm going to be a jerk.
Essentially. I guess we should start with the first game. That's when Jay was still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could all agree both of them were in the wrong for this one. I should probably set the stage.
They were both wrong for this one. So it started out, the way the campaign started was they all kind of got mixed together into a group that were attempting to join the ranks of a guard for this council that had been set up to pretty much oversee the entire land. And to do that, they had to do some trials that forced them to work together as a group. The problem is that those two had already had a falling out just beforehand.
Yeah. This is hot off the heels of the first campaign.
Yep.
The one with the god items and Xena dying in.
Yeah. So this was immediately after, like maybe 2 weeks later, if that.
Actually, I think it was like a week.
Was it
later.
a week?
Yeah.
I knew it was pretty recently after. But so the two of them were instantly bickering, like right away. It started with
In and out of character.
Out of character. It started out with Bolgerval doing something stupid, like charging ahead of everybody else when he was a wizard and almost dying. And
actually, no. If you're talking about like their fighting,
yeah,
it started because he worked as like a bouncer in the bar or something.
Yeah. And I believe
Jay was a whore.
Yeah. I believe Jay tried to cast like Charm Person or something on him, or Hold Person or something.
Don't cast spells on me.
Yeah, and
ever.
Then it became like one of those things where like Bolgerval's character got like right in his face or whatever, and like they just pretty much started like yelling at each other to the point where I think they actually did start combat against each other.
A few times, yeah.
And that's kind of where it all started, and then it kind of just kept spilling over and kept building up until a point where they were in a particular room that had been set up for these trials. Was it Bolgerval? Which one of them caused the cave-in? I can't remember which one of them caused the cave-in.
Cave-in? I don't remember.
Because I think it was Bolgerval, because I think Bolgerval was on the other side. And then, like, kept on charging ahead without anybody else. And ended up incapacitated.
Oh, yeah.
He looked in that well that had the illusionary fish in it.
Yeah.
And then fell unconscious and essentially had to wait there. That was the first time that I saw him get super mad with, I guess, with me, but with himself, because it was the actions that he was taking that were causing him to end up in these predicaments.
Yeah.
So immediately afterwards, he like pulled me aside and was like, "You need to do something about Jay. He's disrupting the campaign for everybody." And I'm like, okay, but it's both of you. So then they, I think that campaign only lasted one session or maybe two.
Let's see, that one. No, I think that was the 3.
Was it 3?
Yeah, the 3 session campaign.
Yeah, it got to be too much to where I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. And after that all ended, I think that was when Jay was... Because we all got... I don't know if you did, but we all got calls and text messages immediately after that campaign just saying, like... Basically saying that, like, we're going to be removing Jay and that... because the both of them couldn't exist together, basically.
No, I didn't.
So, Jay ended up leaving the group, somewhat voluntarily, somewhat voluntold. And Jay actually wanted to separate at that point and start a kind of a new group, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Think so, yeah.
Pretty much with everyone but Bolgerval. And that never materialized until like 6 months later. So, or 7 months later.
I'm trying to remember. There was another thing. I'm trying to remember all the details of... Because you weren't here for this Psy Run. I don't know if Jay told you about it when he ran Psy Run.
He told me bits and pieces, but not... I never actually sat down and discussed it in detail.
The most I can remember that's really relevant to this is that he was playing like an annoying little girl. I think she was spoiled. Probably spoiled. She, inside Run, you probably heard of Siren, right?
I've heard of it, yeah.
And how to play it, I guess.
Yeah.
She had like the ability to like throw up protection around herself. So I mean, to his credit, he played the character perfectly. He played an annoying little girl.
Well, that's the problem. Is it's not that he's a bad role player. It's just he knows his strengths, so he picks like the crappiest people to play as because he's a crappy person. So.
Oh shoot! Damn! Boo, 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 boo.
I guess it's kind of shots fired in a way.
Let me think.
Truth though.
See, so that campaign happened. Jay actually kind of left in the middle of that campaign, but then he came back for Siren.
Yeah.
Then I think that's when we started the Evil campaign.
Oh yeah, because he was part of the Evil campaign.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I think that's when we had the board game break. No, we had the 1 day campaign. I don't know if he did anything that bad in the 1 day campaign, but it was 1 day.
He played a Minotaur or whatever.
No, that was, I don't know what he played. I remember you mentioned something about he wanted to play a fairy.
Pixie.
Or, yeah.
He wanted to play a pixie, but somebody else also wanted to play a pixie at the same time. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. I made up a class real quick, sent it to him. Nothing overpowered. But that was probably the problem, was it wasn't overpowered enough.
Yeah. And then apparently, I don't think did we write down her pregnant lady also wanted to play that pixie, but actually was okay with it.
Yep.
And then he got mad that she was playing a pixie.
Yep, she got mad because he wanted to be unique.
He said she. Never mind.
She wanted to be unique. That's terrible. He wanted to be unique. He did not want someone else to play what he was playing. Because it was his idea first.
Yeah.
Even though they sent me that message within like 2 minutes of each other.
They were probably conspirating.
I thought they were in the same room together. I was like, oh, okay, because every now and then he would like kind of invite himself over to their house. So
yeah. I think after that it was the big board game break. That was the last we saw of Jay. Because that's also when he proposed the Dark Ages, Anaria. And then after that, we had a campaign in the desert run by you.
Yep.
He had two different characters because one of them died.
Yeah, one of them got killed by another party member.
Ironically.
I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Swear. It was another party member.
He essentially played like a suit of armor. If you guys have seen like Full Metal Alchemist, think Alphonse Elric.
Yep.
I think he did it for the same reason that I played my Immortal Mystic. Well, aside from the fact that I love the Mystic class, and I was trying to run through all the Mystics to show you that they weren't broken, and I failed. I'm still failing.
To be honest. Still failing.
He didn't need to eat, sleep, or breathe.
Yep. That's true. He's playing a Warforged. But in the initial discussions of the Warforged, he wanted a bunch of other things that I said no to. He wanted wings with a flight speed equal to his running speed at level 1, which there is not a race in the player's handbook that gives that. Eric Cocker's, you gain a flying speed, I think, at 4th level. But he wanted a flying speed right away. He also wanted access to certain abilities that would like reduce damage coming into. Basically, he wanted damage reduction right away. And he wanted to be able to have a +2/+2 to 2 stats, which was a no-go because there's only one class or race in the PHB that gives a +2/+2.
Which one is that?
One of the dwarves. I think it's Hill Dwarf. It gives +2 strength and +2 con.
Oh, okay. Something important to this context is that we're playing like a trek through the desert. I forget exactly the details of our mission, but we need to get somewhere to negotiate with someone. And to do that, we have to get through this desert-like land.
Yep.
Actually, I don't think it just was a desert.
It was a large desert at
So,
that point.
I don't know how well you actually enforce this, but we were supposed to be like... We were supposed to actually... Rations and stuff were actually supposed to matter.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever played a game where that really mattered.
Right. Yeah, you were supposed to keep track of how much water you had, how much food you had, how much weight you were carrying to make sure you weren't over encumbered and causing levels of exhaustion.
Shoot. There's one thing specific. There's a few things specifically he did. He had to do with like crates or something.
Yeah, everybody was going around town just doing doing miscellaneous stuff that required like actual roleplay. And he decided that he was going to, because essentially the ship got bombarded right along the coast, and there was a lot of stuff that got lost on the seafloor. So he decided that since he didn't need to eat, breathe, or sleep, he would just walk underneath the ocean, walk on the ocean floor, and grab the boxes and bring them back up to shore. And I was like, okay, that's fine, you can do that. And he got increasingly frustrated because other people were getting chances to roleplay, and he was carrying boxes. And I explained to him that you had set it out that you were going to be carrying boxes. There's not really much roleplay you can do underneath the ocean. You could talk to a fish, I guess, but they're probably not going to talk back to you.
He also wanted to be like everywhere at once.
Yes.
If someone, I mean, I guess that's called being a good teammate, but like if someone was in trouble, he wanted to be there to be like, oh wait, but I have this ability. It's a meme within our group at the moment.
Yeah.
But before that, I said I was gonna do this. I have this ability that allows me to do this, just so I can stop this whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah. I could turn back time and teleport and do everything in the world.
I don't think even Aegis had that ability.
No. But so yeah, he would always be like 3 steps away from anybody. He's like, I'm carrying boxes out of the ocean. Okay, well they're 4 miles away at the mayor's house. Well, I'm at the mayor's house now. He's like, well, I would have been walking there.
He's doing like a Mortal Kombat retcon.
Yeah.
These characters that are in the later games, where were they in the first tournament? Oh, they were just like off to the side.
They're playing it. They were still in the tournament. They were just not playable.
Yeah.
So
just over there, in the crowd.
And then he was constantly getting in arguments with the townspeople and stuff. And he was like, well, I'm playing a very religious character. And I was like, yes, but your religion is not practiced here. Never has been. Never will be. This is a totally different continent from where you're from.
Not on my watch.
So he was constantly trying to convert people and stuff like that, and it just wasn't working, and he was getting increasingly frustrated by it. And I'm like, man, you gotta realize you can't just come in someplace like one lone guy and change the opinions of millions of people.
Isn't that the ultimate... Isn't that the ultimate underdog story, though?
Yeah. I guess if you want to call it that. And then with that character, you guys... So there were goblins that kept coming into the town and just ransacking everything, stealing stuff, and then running off with it. So...
yeah. He had a habit of chasing.
Yes. He was a chaser. So he would... So basically what happened was...
I have this ability that lets me catch up to him.
Yeah. So he would go running after the guy, and I'm like, well, he's probably about 90 feet ahead of you right now. He's like, well, I sprint. I'm like, okay, well, so does the goblin. The goblin also sprints. He's like, well, I could stay within 30 feet of him, though. I'm like, no, that's not how speed works. It's like, you guys have the same speed. But he's small. I'm like, yes, but he still has a walking speed of 30 feet.
I thought it was like 40 for a goblin.
No, it's 30 and 30. Well, actually, they can use disengage and hide as a bonus action.
Oh, okay.
But so anyway, he chased them down to their pit or whatever, and was gonna go in there by himself. up against like 300 goblins at first level. Because that's a very smart thing to do. But that's what my character would do. My character's dumb enough to run into a group of pigs knowing that I'm going to die. That was the most frustrating thing you would ever say is, well, my character would do that. I'm like, no.
You know,
In reality, people are not dumb enough to go running into a situation where they know they're probably not going to walk out of it.
I kind of hate that. You guys, you and Aegis do that too, actually.
We do.
But,
For sure.
like that, I don't understand that. Like, I mean, I know it's a role-playing game,
Right.
and you're supposed to play to your character, but there's I think there's certain things where you just gotta like, you know what, okay, I'll do this other thing that my character probably wouldn't do, but it's better than being a complete dumbass.
True. And I try to avoid that as much as possible. Some things are unavoidable, I would say. Like knowing exactly where someone's at a particular given time or whatever. Because that's not necessarily something you would know, but none of the characters I had would just run after a goblin that stole like a jug of wine and do a lair of 300 goblins and not expect anything bad to happen.
Actually, I think he stole like a girl or something.
Yeah, but so that's where his character was ultimately killed, which he had
No,
wanted the character,
actually,
huh?
I think he was killed outside the Goblin Cave.
Yeah, by burning hands.
Yes,
Cast by song.
because at that point we all had gone
Yeah,
to that cave.
I
Some
think
bad
he-
rolls.
I think he wised up and did he come back or did you guys just all go chasing after him?
He came back.
Okay.
And then we spent time in town for a few days, and then magic tiefling dude,
Oh, Art.
yeah,
Yeah,
sent us on the quest to go get that cave.
and you guys were successful at the expense of his character, which I was not saddened by. I don't think anyone really was, because I think the whole religious aspect got to be annoying. At least from my perspective, it did.
Yeah.
But, and then he played probably the most annoying character I've ever had play in any of my campaigns.
I'm trying to think. 'Cause that same night, I'm pretty sure my character left because he killed a character too.
Yes.
Uh,
You killed. Whose character was it?
pretty sure it was Aegis.
Was it Aegis?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been.
I'm trying to figure out, because I seem to remember like a small break in between that to where he may have done something else. Because I don't remember Fazl being introduced until like my character had already been there.
Yeah, he had missed
My new
the
character.
next session because
Oh,
he had
okay.
that date or whatever. But yeah, so he ended up playing that Fazl or whatever, and that was the most annoying character ever. He was the most confrontational character that I've ever seen.
Brief history. Fazl appeared to be a goblin. I don't know if he was actually a goblin in that campaign. But
No, he was a gnome.
So, in the first campaign, there was a character named Fazl. We met along the road somewhere. It was supposed to be a good encounter, but we turned it bad, so he ended up being, like, kind of an enemy to us. Then eventually, Aegis' character befriended him, so he went with us. He was, like, the most powerful... Well, probably not the most powerful. Especially with that scene with the sigil cast. Semantics.
Sigil thing, yeah.
Yeah, semantics
Did,
caster.
The sigil caster that Marvel stole from him. Did he ever tell you that story about how? Because sigil casters were essentially the guys from Doctor Strange.
I did, and then I also reminded him that anime did that first too.
Yeah, and that Doctor Strange has been around since like for longer than he's been alive, basically.
Yeah.
But the movies stole it from him.
Yeah.
Because
Because the movie is based on the comics.
No, not at all. Not at all. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, he was like a pretty powerful wizard, especially for what level we were. He was casting like, I think it was like 6th level magic missile, and we were like level 2. Insane. He had a portable hole before I even knew what that was. I immediately wanted it, to be honest. I started the game with a bag of holding. That was cool because I was essentially Link, and I had mallet space, and then portable hole happened. Blew my whole world apart. That's one good thing I will say about that campaign. The cool things about it. Like a lot of, especially for someone who doesn't know D&D, seeing all these cool things get presented to you. Really, I don't know, there's something cool, nice about it. I'm getting sidetracked. Basil, he ran a magic shop. It was eventually later revealed that he was actually a gnome disguised as a goblin, which is why he was so intelligent. He was just really annoying. You'd say something to him, he had a smart remark. If you ever tried to like mess with him, he'd like fire back with like all kinds of magic.
Yeah. That spilled over to the campaign too. Anytime that somebody would say anything to him, he'd instantly hit him with like a magic missile or throw a firebolt at him or something.
Yeah. Just a really rowdy character. Probably explain a bit more about that. No, he didn't have like his drug addiction.
Yeah, he did.
In the first campaign?
Oh, I don't know about the first campaign, but in the campaign that I ran, he definitely had it.
No. Yeah, I'll let you take over from here. Loose thoughts.
Yeah, it was just super confrontational. I mean, anytime that anybody would do something that that he didn't like, he would respond back with some sort of violence. I mean, it didn't matter if it was a party member or just some random person out on the street. If they said something he didn't like, he'd hit him.
You what?
Yeah, pretty much. Just sling a magic missile at him or throw a fireball at him. And it ended up spilling over to where he was breaking into people's houses and stealing drugs and stuff. You remember that part?
I don't, actually.
Where they, I don't remember who it was that found him and caught him or whatever. But, so, yeah, it was just, I mean, there's really not much else to say.
But at the same time, he tried to be, like, a moral figure. You remember, like, the scene with, like, the kid in the prison? And he was telling the kid, like, hey, look, you need to be better.
Yeah.
Because my backstory, and you should be better.
Yeah. That's another thing, too. His backstories were always really, really, like, dark and decrepit. Like, oh...
I'll be honest, I never read any of them.
My entire family had been murdered 14 times.
Damn. How did they get back to life the 13 times?
Magic. Like his,
I have a family of necromancers. They just
the
revive each other.
The Dragonborn character he had, like, the backstory was, like, his parents, like, didn't like him or something like that, and he was pretty much, like, exiled from his family because they didn't like him, and nobody liked him.
That's, this sounds a bit prophetic. I'm going to clarify something. I didn't read them because I just, like, to be, like, a dick or anything, or, like, apathy or anything. I didn't read them because in his campaigns, he wanted people to write backstories, and I didn't want his backstory to influence my backstory. Because to be honest, I still don't write backstories.
Nope.
I don't know. I'm not too good at it. And I know I'm not too good at it.
His character is literally named Steve.
Yes. I stole...
You stole someone else's name.
Yeah.
For your character.
And I always sit next to him. It's the best. I thought about being Steve from Blue's Clues, but figured I was too violent of a character for that.
He's Steve from Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
It's an impaling fish with knife hands.
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands.
I mean, he wasn't like Steve from Blue's Clues. I forget his real name. He was in like some cop show. I think it was Law and Order, actually.
Like the Steve from Blue's Clues?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he jumped from like playing with like paper dolls and puppets to being like on a murder case. That's also one reason he kind of left.
Nifty.
Just one. Yeah. Some interesting stuff.
But I mean, all in all, it was just his characters were all the same. They were all like super confrontational. He'd try to mask it as something else, and then anytime that like somebody would say something to him, like, "Hey, your character's being too confrontational. Will you knock it off a little bit?" It'd instantly go back to the phrase that I hate. Well, that's that's just my character. I'd hate every time he'd say that because it was always just an excuse to be jerk, basically.
Sir, we have reports that you stabbed this man 28 times in the chest, and then you cut his wife's head off, and then you flushed his kids down the toilet. Well, it's just my character.
So, it ended up with like the whole reason why he decided that he wanted to retire Fazzle, but I ended the campaign before it happened. So, he wanted to retire Fazzle because he said he was tired of everybody being negative towards him. But yeah, I ended the campaign before that would happen. And then I vowed to never run a campaign for him again. And I live by that.